Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I gave a Bud Light update, so I thought now is the time. Since their sales continue to drop and it gets worse and worse for them. Doesn't seem to be any coming back. They kind of do these things now and again where they're trying to reach out to their core customer base. They release some camo cans. Again, every time they do something like that, people just laugh. So it doesn't look good. It's getting to the point now where people are believing there's no coming back for them, and they are yet to issue an apology. The LGBTQ plus community have turned on them too, despite a couple of influencers, shouting them out. Generally, it doesn't look good, and apparently they've lost a LGBTQ rating. So we'll get into that. So Bud Light sales continue to plunge with 24% drop in latest week since Dylan Mulvaney disaster. So Bud Light suffered its fifth week of worsening sales since the Dylan Mulvaney controversy began, stoking doubts about whether the mega brand can recover as the crucial summer beer drinking season begins. Yeah, this is a big season for beer companies, obviously, and it doesn't look like people are going to be picking up Bud Light. Nationwide, retail sales of Bud Light sales dropped 23.6% versus a year ago during the week ended May 6, slightly worse than the 23.3% decline for the week ended April 29, according to data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ data. Sales of other Anheuser-Busch brands also continue to drop, albeit at a slower rate than the week before. Those included Budweiser, down 9.7% versus an 11.4% drop a week earlier. Michelob Ultra, down 2.9% versus 4.3%. And Natural Light, down 2.5% versus 5.2% the previous week. This seems to be where the brand's weekly declines have started to settle, falling in that minus 20% range over the past few weeks, said Bump Williams, chief executive of the consultancy, said of Bud Light, "I wonder if this is going to be the floor." I don't think so. I think it's going to get worse. I think the Bud Light drinker is waiting for a genuine and sincere apology from Anheuser-Busch and a crystal clear communication on exactly what happened and how important the Bud Light drinkers are to the company. Exactly. That's all it takes. Well, I don't even know if that's going to be enough now, but that's what people are waiting for, especially when the VP of marketing said they want to move away from the fratty, out of touch type of drinker, letting your customers believe that you don't really care about them, that you're above them, that the brand is moving away from them now, moving on to bigger and better things, apparently, Dylan Mulvaney and the likes of such. So let's take a look at a former marketing executive and his take on how this brand is in big trouble.
And there's this. Bud Light sales have fallen for the fifth straight week following the Dylan Mulvaney controversy. Got it. Anson Frericks is a former Anheuser-Busch executive joining me now. Anson, they've redesigned the bottle, or they're going to. They've released a patriotic ad campaign. They're practically giving the stuff away. Is any of this going to work and get Bud Light drinkers back to drinking Bud Light?
Stu, unfortunately, I don't think that it is, because the one thing that they haven't done is say they made a mistake with this campaign and been clear about who they're going to serve moving forward. Is it going to be their shareholders and their customers who want them just to create a Bud Light that's apolitical, or are they going to be serving their stakeholders? These are the people that want BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, who are asking them to serve political organizations, activists. And I think until they're clear and they make it clear that they want to serve their customers moving forward, unfortunately, I don't see this going away.
Well, wait a minute. You put your IFB in so you can hear what I'm saying. Okay, here we go. If they turned around and said, oh, we made a mistake putting a trans on that can, all hell breaks loose. You can't do that, Anson, and you know it.
Well, I think what it is, but I think when you take a look about what does Bud Light stand for? Bud Light stands for was a brand that was never about politics. This was always about a brand that brought people together. It was about football. It was about sports. It was about music. It never got involved in political situations. That's why it was enjoyed by both Republicans and Democrats equally. And that was what made the brand actually remarkable, is it was remarkably unpolitical. And this is just a political situation they should not have got themselves in. This is a beer company. They should be about selling beer.
Should you politicize any product? I mean, we're talking about now the politicization of beer, for example, but any product, I can't see it as a winning proposition. You're going to annoy at least half the population.
You know, if there are certain brands that they're about getting into politics, and that's part of the brand, that's part of the ethos, maybe they should. You know, Ben & Jerry's, this was created by a couple of folks in Vermont. They have kind of a hippie counterculture to them. If that's part of the brand and they serve a customer and that's part of their mission statement, sure. And then people can choose not to be part of that brand. With Bud Light, that was never part of the brand or part of the message. And I think that's what's upset so many people here. And that's why I think this boycott is going to go on a lot longer than people give it credit for. And there's two reasons that boycotts tend to be successful. The first is when it's easy for consumers to switch to other brands. And then secondarily, when people feel like they're having an impact. And in this, Bud Light, it's not very that much different from Coors Light or Miller Lite. It's water, it's barley, it's hops. What sets it apart is its messaging. And so it's easy for consumers to switch to the grocery store, the convenience store. And then separately, consumers feel like they're having an impact. And every single week, these sales numbers are being reported, and they're getting worse and worse every single week. So I see this continuing to drag on until Bud Light makes a comment about what they stand for and what customers they're going to serve.
It's the most extraordinary boycott I've seen ever, actually. Anson Frerichs, thank you very much for joining us. That was fascinating stuff.
And the thing is, under normal circumstances, yes, it's better to stay out of politics. And, you know, the host was saying that they can't turn around and say, we regret this, you know, we apologize for putting a trans person on our beer cans. They can't turn around and say that. But they turned around and did the opposite. They put a trans person on their beer can, showing that they're co-signing the whole thing. They're co-signing Dylan Mulvaney and the caricaturing of women, to the point where they put a trans woman on the can rather than a biological female. Ordinarily, they can't do that. You know, it's best to stay out of politics. Just focus on the brand, of course. But they didn't. They chose to insert themselves. So now they have to pick a side. It's very simple. Ben & Jerry's is the example he gave. And yeah, there are a lot of woke companies who make their political views known. So unfortunately for Bud Light, they're now going to have to go down that route and pick which side it's going to be. That's it. They were bold enough to put Dylan on their can in the first place. They're going to have to be bold enough to reassert what they stand for or clarify what they stand for, because there's no clarification as of now. And of course, even without the apology, they're still losing support from the LGBT community. And now it was reported that they have lost, or Anheuser-Busch has lost its top LGBTQ plus rating over its Bud Light response. So last year, the Human Rights Campaign Foundation gave Bud Light parent company Anheuser-Busch a top rating for the LGBTQ plus equality. But because of how the company handled backlash to a sponsored post by Dylan Mulvaney, a transgender woman, it's now off the list. The organisation informed Anheuser-Busch of its decision in a May letter viewed by CNN, after previously writing to the company in April criticising its response. USA Today first reported on the decision. Bud Light sponsorship on an April 1 Instagram post by Mulvaney set off a firestorm of anti-trans backlash and calls for a boycott. The company first responded with a straightforward explanation of its relationship with social media influencers like Mulvaney. But later it released a vague statement from the CEO that failed to offer support for Mulvaney or the trans community. And the company ended up angering pretty much everyone in the process. Bud Light sales dropped in the ensuing weeks and have continued to drop. They haven't done what the Human Rights Campaign Foundation called them to do, which was to reaffirm their support of Dylan. Yet they haven't issued an apology either to let the Conservatives know that they believe they made a mistake. They've done all these, patriotic style commercials, country music commercials, and now these camo cans apparently. And guys, because of the Bud Light backlash, trans influencers are now losing money. as more and more companies are reluctant to go down that route. So trans influencers are saying that they're being affected due to the backlash. They're not getting as many deals. They're not getting as many offers. Some told the Post that at the time when they are usually in high demand, the period leading up to Pride Month in June, oh yes, that's right, brand partnership offers are drying up. So yeah, I mean, this is having an impact across the board. And I don't have a problem with this situation because I hope it's getting companies to just rethink before jumping on bandwagons. Now, if that's the route they want to go down, that's what they genuinely believe in, that's what they want to promote, that's their choice. But when you're a company who previously is known for appealing to, patriotism and things of that nature, even Donald Trump Jr. said that a lot of the funders are conservatives. So if that's the case, the company should have known better. They should have either just stayed out of the whole thing. Now that they have inserted themselves, they're now going to have to be clear to their core customer base. And lastly, we have Ted Cruz announcing that he's setting up an investigation into Bud Light. He's saying that because Dylan Mulvaney has a lot of followers who are children, by choosing to use Dylan as their sponsor, they effectively are marketing beer towards children, towards those who are under 21. So he believes that an investigation is warranted. So take a look.
Now, you're also a member of the Congress Committee and Commerce Committee, I should say, and you want to investigate what Bud Light was doing with Dylan Mulvaney. It destroyed a brand that may not recover. What's your focus?
Well, listen, I can't think of a company in modern times that has more alienated its customer base and seemed to have so little understanding of who it is that actually drinks Bud Light. But this week I sent a letter to the CEO of Anheuser-Busch along with Senator Marsha Blackburn, because the CEO of Anheuser-Busch is also the CEO or the chairman of the Beer Institute, which is the regulatory body, the industry regulatory body that regulates itself. And one of the rules that beer companies are supposed to follow is they're not supposed to market to kids. Remember the whole Joe the Camel thing? This is the same thing here. Well, you know what? Dylan Mulvaney, a massive percentage of Dylan Mulvaney's audience are kids. And Budweiser was trying, I believe, with this ill-fated marketing attempt to target teenagers. If you look at things Dylan Mulvaney has online, it's things like Days of Girlhood. There's another video where Dylan Mulvaney is singing, "My name is Eloise and I am 6." There's another one where Dylan Mulvaney is shopping for Barbie dolls. These are clearly things aimed at teenagers and even children younger than teenagers, which violates the rules. And so we're calling on the Beer Institute to investigate the degree to which Anheuser-Busch knowingly was marketing to children in going down this road.
Senator, you never stop. Senator Ted Cruz, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
So not a wise move by Anheuser-Busch in many regards. And I'm looking to see how this turns out because it's very interesting. It's a big lesson in marketing. I heard people say that it was all a ploy to appeal to Gen Z to make Bud Light essentially a gay brand. That's what marketers were saying. And now it's turning out that no, this obviously was not their plan and it has backfired in a big way. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and God willing, I will see you in the next video.